365 Awakening to Love. I'm Tomás Garza, your host for this live stream. And I thank you all for joining me. If you're catching this live, drop a comment on here and let us know where you're tuning in from. That's a lot of fun because we've had people literally from all over the world joining us here on Enlightened World Network. And it's so much fun for me to have a global community. And say what you will about the last year and change, it has really helped in some ways to bring us together. And we're so fortunate and indeed blessed to have access to 21st century technology, such as Zoom, such as Restream, so that we can reach one another with what? With the message of love. What else? Honestly, quite simply. What else other than that? And we can all look around and see that the internet is being used, and it will be used for as long as it exists, to disseminate fear, to disseminate hatred and tribalism. Yeah, people digging in, defining and defending personal territory, which, as we know deep down, is completely and totally 100% the domain of the ego. So while it can be used to disseminate fear, it can also be used for the more powerful and completely foolproof purpose of extending love. So it's beautiful, and it is my honor to be here with you today. What I'm doing on this live stream is I am sharing my perspective and my experience on the extraordinary spiritual text. It's really a self-study curriculum, A Course in Miracles. So if you're just joining me, welcome, welcome. This is about A Course in Miracles, but you'll also find that everything that the workbook for students, which we're going through right now, everything that that has to say, everything A Course in Miracles has to say, period, applies to everyone. It's universal spirituality. So no matter what your background, I welcome you. No matter what your spiritual practice, what that does or does not look like, you're more than welcome to take these ideas that we talk about and apply them. And if they resonate with you, keep applying them. A Course in Miracles is a beautiful supplement to an existing practice, whatever that looks like. And if you prefer, it is also a practice unto itself. While it's not a religion, thank God, we don't need another one of those in the world, do we? It is a self-study guide. It's a curriculum, and you go at your own pace. You can spend as much time on an idea as you want to. So, in the interest of a short time frame in this live stream, let's launch right into today's idea. And that's Workbook Lesson 78. Let miracles replace all grievances. All right. Let miracles replace all grievances. So I've said pretty much every day that I've been doing this live stream that we have a choice moment to moment, whether we realize we do or not. We have a choice right now, moment to moment, between love and fear. We could choose one or the other. And that's our choice. And we have millions of different varieties of choices in the world, in places like the supermarket, where you walk down the produce aisle. And if you want to make a salad for dinner, well, you might pick up some lettuce or some spinach, maybe some tomatoes. Maybe you'll pick up some mushrooms, maybe some bell peppers. I don't know. It looks like there's lots of choices, right? But ultimately, in terms of spirituality, in terms of the core of who we really are, we have a choice between love and fear, and we have that to make right now in the present moment. A choice for love is a miracle. Choice for fear is a grievance. So a miracle is defined in a lot of places in the course as a shift, quite simply, a shift. As we talked about yesterday on this live, it is not necessarily moving objects with your bare hands from a distance. It is not necessarily levitating. It is not necessarily a what we would call a metaphysical or a 5D experience. If that happens to you, fantastic. Okay. It's part of your experience. If it doesn't happen to you, that's all right too. That's really all right too, because that's not what a miracle really is deep down. A miracle is a shift from a fear-based thought to love. That's it. That's it. Now, what you'll find, and you may have found this in your own experience in life, is that when you begin moment to moment to choose love more often, you will have an outwardly very different experience. It's because the outer world is a mirror. It quite literally is a mirror of what's going on inside, of the choice that we're making inside. So let the preponderance of your choices be for love. I mean, let as many of your choices be loving as you possibly can, and you will have a completely different experience. Why? That's the way it works. Now, will you have loving thoughts constantly? No, of course not. Of course not, because here in the world, we're still identifying with a separate sense of self. Now, spiritual practice is about undoing that perception bit by bit, usually for a lot of us. However, it is possible to have massive transformation instantaneously or in a short period of time. Just because it's possible doesn't mean that everybody's going to do that. And I run into, as I guide people in this workbook, something that's very common. And that's, here we are, lesson 78. It's around about this time, or maybe even earlier, that most people who start out doing these exercises quit. I mean, they just do. A lot of people that I've worked with, studied with, talked to, and guided have given up after a few weeks or a few lessons for various reasons. And one of them that I hear quite a bit is that I don't feel like I'm doing it right. That's a common one, isn't it? Because we are so oriented to please. I mean, whether we consider ourselves people pleasers or not, we're all attempting to fit in one way or another in the world deep down when we think about it. So it could take that form, but we tend to beat ourselves up, don't we? Thinking that we're not doing it right. Just because we don't have a profound metaphysical experience in 15 minutes doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. I encourage, as always, people to look at your spirituality, at your experience in the world, and where you are today as compared with where you were when you began your practice. Looking at it from a longer term point of view, from a long run point of view, because this is a long game, it's a process. It really isn't necessarily an instant blinding flash. And if you have that, fantastic, wonderful, yes. If you don't, you're still doing it right. Just by showing up and just by watching this live stream, just by attempting the day's practices, even if it's just reciting the day's idea, that is tremendous. It's a tremendous help. These are all designed specifically to be short and memorable so that they stick in our mind and we can recall them. So a choice for love is a choice for miracles. And the idea for today is let miracles replace all grievances. And if you're saying you don't hold any grievances, well, all right, that's what you're saying. I don't believe you. Can I just say that? Because we all hold them in one form or another. If we didn't hold them at all, then we would be completely awakened, wouldn't we? Every single choice, every single word that we spoke, every single thought, every single action would be loving. And our presence in this world would be so strong and so benevolent that we could literally just leave a lasting impact on everyone that we touch and come across. And this is what happens with people like the Buddha, historical Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, Jesus, people that reach a high level of awakening leave an impact that lasts for thousands of years. Yeah. Now, if every single one of our thoughts were loving, we would do the same thing. So what we find is that there are grievances that we hold. Some things annoy us. Some people annoy us and they make us angry. And we start feeling maybe a pit in your stomach. Maybe your solar plexus begins to tighten up. Yeah. Maybe you don't feel good or loving when you think about a certain person. And we all have that certain someone. Or it might be more than one person. So today, on the live stream and in our practice period, lesson 78, we're going to think about that person. So I want to invite you to think about a particular person right now against whom you hold a lot of grievances. Now, this could be anyone. It could be an ex-partner or an ex-spouse. It could be a friend, a family member, a parent, a child, a neighbor. Could be a politician. Could be a world leader. Honestly, it could be anyone. Think of that person right now and hold an image of this person in your mind. This is the day's practice period here, lesson 78. In short, I'm doing a shortened version here on the live stream, but I encourage you to go into this in as much depth as you can and have time for. What we're doing here is we're holding an image of the person against whom we have a lot of grievances. We may fear this person, we may hate them. So whatever emotions you're feeling, absolutely fine. They're just emotions. They're not you. They're just emotions. So let them come up without stopping them. You have feelings when you hold an image of this person in mind. What we're doing here in lesson 78 is we are asking. We're asking for divine guidance. We're asking for support. We're asking for clarity so that we may see the light in this person. There is light in this person, just as there is light in you. This individual that you're holding in mind may think the exact same thing about you. And wouldn't it be lovely? Wouldn't it be wonderful and deeply transformative if they were to hold an image of you and actively ask to see the light in you, God in you, love in you, who you really are. So ask to see the light in this person and sit in this. And the workbook recommends what it considers a longer practice period. This is a guided meditation in a way. The guiding is just at the beginning, and then you sit with the image of this person and ask as many times as you feel called, as many times as you feel you need to let miracles replace all grievances, and wish to see the light in this person, because it is there. It is in all of us. In fact, it's who we really are. And throughout the day, The day's idea is let miracles replace all grievances. This can be done whether you're following A Course in Miracles or not. What happens when you do this? Well, you might experience seeing the light in another person, a person against whom you hold a lot of grievances. And when we're able to do that, we find experientially in real life, where the action is, that our thoughts change, our feelings change. We may feel lighter, and we may not ever be loving, kind friends with this person. You don't have to be. You don't have to be. I mean, you really don't. A lot of people justify withholding forgiveness and withholding love as enabling someone's behavior. So maybe this person that you're holding grievances against has harmed you, maybe quite gravely. Okay, that could be. Are they not just as deserving of forgiveness and love as you yourself for whatever you may have done to them? Of course they are. Of course they are. So this, as you can see, and I hope that you will go on, hopefully today, and experience, is a very powerful, powerful connective exercise. It's a powerful connective practice. Because when we can see the good, the light in every single human being, we will experience the world as more loving. We will step into our power, which has never gone away. We've tried to give it away, but we can't give it away. Isn't that exciting? We can't actually give away our true power. We can try to run and hide, and we have, but we cannot give it away. It's who we really are. It has never left us. So let us make the attempt today, however long this practice period is for you, to access this power. And when you find you're able to feel that and access it, stay with it as long as you possibly can. And let that power, let the love of God, the Holy Spirit, your guides, universe, source, name the term, it's just a word. Let this divine love speak to you. Let it speak to you and show you what to do, what to say. Get out of your own way and allow. This is spiritual practice. This is what we're here for. This is one way that we can do this. And it's beautiful. So I can't recommend it highly enough. So let me know if you have any questions here. I'm going to pop in to the live stream. And I really, really appreciate everyone that has joined me here today. Isabel and Robert, how are you guys? Thank you for tuning in. And yes, good evening, Robert. And Robin, hi, how are you? Good afternoon from Mississippi. All right, wonderful. Thank you for tuning in. Robin, if this is your first time, welcome. I don't know if you've been on this live stream before, but it really is a joy and a pleasure for me to bring this powerful, powerful teaching to you. So the show times vary, by the way, if you're just catching this for the first time. Show times vary every day. So I would want to point you to the Enlightened World Network's, I almost called it the Electric World Network. That's interesting, isn't it? Enlightened World Network's Facebook page, and pinned at the top of the feed every day is what they call a show guide, which shows the programming list of all the wonderful shows on the channel. And here you'll find that. I will tell you that it does bounce around a little bit in terms of time, but it is daily. So thank you so much for tuning in. And yeah, anybody else? Robert, you're over in Romania. And Stephanie, hi, how are you? Hello. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. And I appreciate all of the comments, likes, comments, love, hearts, shares. It really is my, my mission, I guess, for lack of a better word, to get this teaching out and extend it to as many people as possible. So I really, really appreciate all of your shares. And if you know a friend that might be interested in A Course in Miracles or this live stream, this dialogue that we have going on about universal spirituality, yeah, please feel free to share that with them. And I know that everyone at Enlightened World Network would really appreciate that as well, as we reach out to as many people as we possibly can. I mean, spiritual practice is about the extension of love, isn't it? That's what we're here to do, is extend love. We're here to choose love and extend it. And happily, love does a lot of the work on its own. We have to get out of our own way and kind of show up and allow it and allow it. So this practice here in the workbook, lesson 78, is a very beautiful way to do that. It's a very beautiful way to reorient our experience of people against whom we have grudges, grievances, and people that you might even say that you hate. So that can be transcended. Bring it all to the path, as they say in Buddhism, everything. Leave no stone unturned. This is about just being really, really honest, isn't it? And showing up and just being really honest with yourself and allowing everything that's supposed to come up for release to show up so you can release it, rather than what we've done for countless lifetimes. And even if you're even if that doesn't resonate with you, countless years in this lifetime, right? We try to get all of the unpleasantries away from us and distance ourselves from it. Well, spiritual practice is not rainbows and unicorns, like we say. It's not all happiness and bliss, because we've got to bring that to the light. Guess what happens when you bring all of this to the light? It's canceled. That's what happens when we get out of our own way. Course in Miracles talks about that extensively. Bringing darkness to the light. Light cancels it. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. It's no longer dark, is it? The darkness just goes. And it's quite literally like it was never there. Let that one sink in, like it was never there. Okay. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Again, this is daily, so I will see you again tomorrow. And actually tomorrow, you can check the show guide for times, as I got this scheduled out for the entire month of May, in fact. But tomorrow, it's going to be 2 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in North America, 11 o'clock Pacific Time in North America. So you can hopefully catch this live. Now, if you're catching the replay, let me know where you're joining me from. And if you have any questions or comments about A Course in Miracles or your own spiritual practice in general, I'm here to help. So please feel welcome to ask. And this has been really, really wonderful to be here with you all today, as it always is. So thank you so much for tuning in and for your practice, whatever that looks like. It's a valuable offering to the entire world. So keep doing it. All right. And I'll see you back